My dear child, before anything else, I want you to sit quietly for just a moment and feel these words land deep inside your heart. Not in your mind, not in your thoughts, but deep inside where the real you lives. Because what I am about to say to you is not just words. It is a message that heaven has been holding for you, saving for this exact moment, this exact day, this exact breath you are taking right now. You were never invisible to me. You were never forgotten. You were never skipped over or left behind. I know that is hard to believe sometimes, especially when you look around and it seems while you are standing still. But I need you to hear me clearly. Still is not stuck. Quiet is not empty. Waiting is not wasted. And you, my beloved child, have never once been outside of my sight. There is something inside you that has been growing for a very long time. Something so big, so bright, so full of glory that the small spaces of yesterday simply could not hold it anymore. Think of it like a seed. For a long time, nobody could see it. The ground looked dry. Nothing seemed to be happening. But underneath the surface, roots were forming. Life was building. Strength was developing. And now, right now, that seed is pushing through the soil. The season of hiding is over. The time of revealing has begun. And it begins with you. This is not about becoming a celebrity. This is not about having thousands of people know your name or follow you on social media. This is about something so much more meaningful than any of that. This is about purpose. This is about the specific reason you were placed on this earth, the unique assignment that was written for you before you even took your first breath. And I am calling you into it now, not because you performed perfectly, not because you never made mistakes, but because you stayed. You stayed faithful when it was hard. You stayed soft when the world tried to make you hard. You stayed close to me even when you could not feel me near. And that, my child, is exactly why I trust you with what comes next. I want to speak to something that has been quietly hurting you, something you have not said out loud because you were afraid of how it sounded. You have watched others rise. You have celebrated for them on the outside while something on the inside whispered, "But what about me?" And I am not angry with you for that feeling. I am not disappointed, because I understand the human heart better than anyone. I created it. And I know that watching someone else walk into what you have been praying for can feel painful. But that is not what is happening. That is never what is happening in my kingdom. Here is the truth that I need you to carry with you from this day forward. There is no competition in heaven. I did not create you to race against anyone. I did not design your destiny to be in conflict with someone else's. Every single person I created has their own lane, their own path, their own unique fingerprint of purpose. And your lane is so completely your own, so perfectly fitted to who you are, that nobody else on earth could run in it, even if they wanted to. Not because I am keeping others out, but because it was built specifically for you. Your shape, your story, your struggles, your strengths, all of it went into the design of what I have prepared for your life. So when you see someone else being blessed, I want you to see it differently from now on. Their blessing is not your rejection. Their open door is not your closed one. In fact, every time you see me move in someone's life, it is evidence that I am active, that I am at work, that I am in your neighborhood. And if I am blessing them, you can be absolutely sure that your blessing is coming too. Not the same blessing, not a copy, not a hand-me-down, your own original, heaven-designed, completely personalized blessing that fits your life the way no one else's story could. Now let me talk to you about something that lives even deeper, something you have maybe never said out loud to anyone. Somewhere along the way, through rejection, through silence, through people who left, or people who stayed but never really saw you, a quiet lie slipped into your heart. It did not announce itself. It came in softly, through whispers and wounds, and it said, "Maybe I am just too much. Or maybe I am not enough. Maybe I am hard to love. Maybe I am easy to forget. Maybe I am the kind of person who gets overlooked, not on purpose, but just because that is how things go for me." And my child, I need you to hear me with everything inside you right now. That was a lie. Every single word of it was a lie. You are not too much. You are not too little. You are not difficult to love, and you are absolutely not easy to forget, because I think about you constantly. I know every hair on your head. I know every dream you have tucked away. I know every prayer you whispered into your pillow at midnight. I know every tear that fell before you had the words to explain why you were crying. And none of that, not one single moment of your life, has ever made me want to step back from you. You are easy to love, not because you are perfect, but because you are mine. And I do not love my children based on their performance. I do not hand out favor based on who makes the fewest mistakes. I love because love is who I am. And when I look at you, I do not see problems. I do not see failures. I see a wonder. I see a story still being written. I see someone who has been through fire and still has a song in their heart. And I see someone who is ready, truly ready, for the next chapter. Now, you may be sitting there wondering why things have not made sense. You have prayed, you have trusted, you have waited, and still some things feel unclear. Still some things feel unresolved, and your heart has quietly asked, Lord, I just need to understand why. I just need to know what it all means. And I hear that prayer. I honor that hunger. But I want to invite you into something today that is actually bigger than understanding. I want to invite you into trust. Not the kind of trust that is easy, not the kind that comes after all the answers have been given. I am talking about the deep-rooted, unshakable kind of trust that says, even when I do not understand, I know who you are, and that is enough for me. Because here is the thing, my child. If I gave you the full map right now, you would try to take shortcuts. If I explained every detail of the difficult road you walked, you might try to avoid the very ground where your breakthrough is waiting. Some paths only make sense when you reach the other side. Some stories only reveal their beauty when you read the last chapter. And right now, I am asking you to keep walking, even without seeing the destination clearly, because I am walking with you. I am not sending you ahead while I stay behind. I am right beside you in every step. The enemy wants you paralyzed. He wants your mind so tangled in questions and what-ifs and worst-case scenarios that you never move forward. He wants confusion to be your companion and fear to be your guide. But I am calling you into peace. Not a peace that comes because everything is explained, but a peace that comes because you know me. A peace that says, even here, even now, even in the middle of things I do not fully understand, I trust you. And that kind of peace, the kind that does not make logical sense, is actually the most powerful thing you can carry into your next season. So let go of the pressure to figure it all out. You were never meant to be the one who maps your own future. That was never your job. Your job is simply to follow, to trust, to stay close to my voice. And I promise you, I will never lead you somewhere without being there with you. And while we are being honest with each other, let me say something about how you have been measuring your readiness. You have been asking yourself, have I done enough? Have I prayed enough? Have I changed enough? Have I been good enough for the blessing to finally come? And underneath all of those questions is a quiet, exhausting belief that my favor has to be earned. That if you just work hard enough spiritually, if you just get your life perfectly together, then maybe I will open the door. But that is not how I work, my child. That has never been how I work. I am not blessing your performance. I am blessing your presence. What I am about to do next in your life does not flow from how many boxes you have checked. It flows from how close you are to me. It flows from your open heart. It flows from the posture of surrender that says, I do not have it all together, but I am here. I am yours. Do what you will in me. That is the prayer that moves heaven. Not polished words, not perfect behavior, just you showing up genuinely, vulnerably, honestly. That is all I need to work with. And from that, I can build something extraordinary. You see, favor is not a wage I pay after you have earned enough. Favor is an inheritance I give because you are my child, and you do not earn an inheritance. You receive it, you step into it. You carry it with gratitude, and you walk in the authority of knowing who your Father is. So, stop trying to qualify yourself. You were already qualified the moment I called you. Stop trying to make yourself worthy. I am the one who determines worth, and I determined yours before the world began. Now, let me speak to your hands. Not the ones you can see, but the spiritual ones. The ones that have been quietly filled with keys during all those private moments of obedience and faithfulness. Every time you chose to forgive, when bitterness would have been easier, a key was placed in your hands. Every time you chose to stay in faith, when giving up made more sense, a key was added. Every time you showed up for someone else, even when you were hurting yourself, every time you said yes to me in secret when no one was watching, every time you kept going through a desert without complaining, I was placing keys in your hands, and you did not always feel them, you did not always see them, but they are there. And right now, there are doors standing before you that those keys were made for, doors that look impossible, doors that carry signs that say, too late, not for you. that ship has sailed. And I am telling you today that those signs are lies, because the key in your hand was cut for that exact lock. The very door that fear told you was sealed permanently is the door I anointed you to open, and it is time. These are not small doors. These are not just doors for your personal convenience. These are generational doors. These are doors that, when you open them, blessing flows not just into your life, but into every life connected to yours. Your children, your family, the people in your community, even strangers you have not met yet who are waiting for the thing that only your obedience can unlock. Your yes is the key code. Your faith is the turning mechanism. And heaven is ready to swing those gates wide open the moment you stop looking at the door and start reaching for the handle. And because we are talking about doors and seasons and new beginnings, I want to make sure that you and all these beautiful people watching right now are part of this community together. If this message is landing in your heart, if something here is speaking to something deep inside you, take a moment right now, and you do not want to miss a single one. Now, back to you, my beloved. Let me talk about something you have perhaps been afraid to say out loud. You have wondered in the quiet, honest corners of your heart, did you forget me? Not dramatically, not in anger, but in that small, aching 3 a.m. kind of way where the silence feels heavy and the unanswered prayers feel louder than any music. You watched others get their breakthrough. You celebrated, genuinely celebrated, but then you walked home and sat alone with the question, but what about me? Did you factor me in? And I want to answer that question today so completely, so finally, that it never has to haunt you again. You were always factored in. Every single moment, every delay had you in the equation. Every silence had your name woven into its purpose. Not one tear you cried was accidental. Not one moment of waiting was careless. I was not forgetting you during those seasons. I was building for you during those seasons. There is a difference between a God who is absent and a God who is working in places you cannot yet see. And I have never been absent from your story, not for one single breath. What I have been building for you is not a generic solution. It is not a one-size-fits-all blessing. It is specific. It is detailed. It carries your exact fingerprints. I factored in your childhood, the things that hurt you early, the moments that shaped your fears and formed your questions. I factored in the time you lost to grief, to confusion, to seasons that felt wasted. I factored in your weaknesses, your patterns, your tendencies, your doubts, and I did not use those things against you. I used them to make the miracle more precise, more personal, more powerful. Because only I know every layer of what you have been through. And only I can design something that speaks directly to every layer of who you are. The miracle that is coming for your life is not a hand-me-down. It is not something left over after everyone else got theirs. It is fresh, it is original, it is alive, and it has your name written all over it in letters that only heaven can read. And it is on its way, not someday in a distant, vague future, but now. Not when you get more together, not when you finally feel ready, now. And here is something I want you to know about the losses you have carried, the things that were taken, the relationships that ended, the opportunities that closed, the seasons that felt empty. I did not look away while those things happened. I saw every single one of them. I know what it cost you. I know how heavy it was to carry, and I am not here to simply say it will be okay. I am here to say it is being redeemed right now, actively. Today, when I redeem something, I do not just patch it up. I do not just put a bandage on the wound and say good enough. When I redeem, I restore. And I do not restore back to where things were before. I restore forward into something better, deeper, richer, more full of life than what was there originally. I am a God of surplus, not scarcity. I am a God of overflow, not just recovery. And what you are stepping into is not a consolation prize. It is the real thing. The thing that was always meant for you, finally arriving at exactly the right time. What you thought was loss was actually preparation. What you grieved as subtraction was actually sacred separation. I was not removing good things from your life. I was removing things that were too small for where I was taking you, things that felt safe but were actually holding you back, things that were comfortable but were quietly limiting your growth. And I did it with love, not punishment. I did it with a plan, not carelessness. Because I knew that if I let you stay comfortable with what was manageable, you would never discover what was magnificent. So now, instead of looking at those closed doors with grief, I want you to begin to look at them with understanding. Begin to see that the job that ended opened space for the calling that fits you perfectly. The relationship that fell apart protected you from a future that would have diminished your spirit. The dream that dissolved in your hands was making room for a dream so much larger that your hands needed to be emptied first so they could hold something new. I am the God of the better thing, and the better thing is on its way to you right now. Now, let me address something that you carry very privately. You have been the strong one in your family, in your friendships, in your faith community. You are the one people come to when they need strength, when they need prayer, when they need someone to hold steady while everything around them shakes. And you have done that beautifully. You have given generously from a well that sometimes felt very nearly empty, and you have smiled and said, "I am fine," when the honest answer would have been, "I am barely holding on." And I see that. I have seen every moment of it. Every time you poured out for someone else when you yourself were running dry. Every time you showed up for others while quietly wondering who would show up for you. Every brave and exhausted act of love and service that nobody applauded because nobody even knew how much it cost you. I saw it all. I recorded every single one, and I am not dismissing what you have carried. I am honoring it today. But I also need to tell you this with the full tenderness of a father who loves his child deeply. You were never meant to carry it alone. The pressure that has been building inside you, the heaviness that sits on your chest some mornings, the weariness that no amount of sleep seems to fix, that is not proof that you are weak. That is proof that you have been carrying something that was always meant to be shared with me, and I am stepping in today to carry it with you. You do not have to be strong every moment. You do not have to have answers for everyone else when you yourself are still looking for answers. You do not have to hold everything together. That is my job. I am the one who holds all things together. And when you finally release the weight you have been gripping so tightly, what you will feel is not defeat. What you will feel is relief. The deep, holy exhale of a heart that finally lets its father step in and do what only a father can do. So right now, in this moment, I am asking you to do something simple. Just let go. Whatever you have been holding so tightly that your spiritual knuckles have gone white, just open your hands. Not because you have given up, but because you have finally understood that holding on was never the answer. Releasing into my hands is. And the moment you do, you will feel something shift, something lighten, something that felt impossibly heavy suddenly becomes something you can breathe around. That is me stepping in, lifting what you could not lift alone. And I want you to know that you have angels assigned to your life, not just one, but many, sent specifically to handle what your human hands were never built to manage. They have been at work in your situation, even when you could not see it, redirecting circumstances, blocking things that were never meant to reach you, holding open doors that should have closed, keeping things in place that the enemy tried to move. You have not been alone in any season. You have been surrounded by heaven's help, and now that help is increasing, multiplying, activating in ways you will actually begin to see with your natural eyes in the days ahead. Now, let me speak to you about the wilderness, that long, silent, dry stretch of time. You know exactly what season I am talking about. That time when every prayer seemed to bounce back unanswered, when every morning felt the same as the one before it, when you looked around and could not see evidence of my goodness anywhere in your immediate circumstances. That season, that wilderness. I want to tell you what was actually happening there, because what you experienced as abandonment was actually appointment. You see, the wilderness is where things get simplified. All the noise falls away. All the distractions get stripped back. And in that stillness, even though it was painful, even though it was lonely, you began to develop something that a comfortable life could never have built in you. You developed roots, real deep, unshakable roots, the kind that can survive drought, the kind that do not depend on the rain being constant because they have learned to draw from depths that ordinary seasons never reach. You developed an ability to hear my voice that people who have only ever lived in comfortable seasons do not have. You can recognize me in a whisper now. You can find me in the dark. You can praise me without a reason visible to the human eye, and that is not a small thing. That is one of the rarest and most powerful gifts a human spirit can carry. And you did not just survive the wilderness. You changed inside it. You became someone different than the person who walked into it. Not harder, deeper, not more closed, more discerning, not more broken, more surrendered. And that person, the one who came out of the wilderness changed, is the one I have been building toward all along. Because the anointing that forms in hiddenness is always more powerful than the one that forms in the spotlight. The oil that presses out through difficulty always carries more weight than the oil that flows effortlessly. And you, my child, you are coming out of that season, now dripping in oil that the world has never seen. And it is about to change everything. Your exit from the wilderness is not cautious. It is not timid. It is not apologetic. You are walking out of that season with your head lifted, with your shoulders back, with an authority in your spirit that was not there before you went in. And people around you will notice it. Not because you will be louder, not because you will be performing differently, but because something in the atmosphere shifts. When a person who has truly been through the fire walks into a room, there is a weight to your presence now, a depth, a groundedness. And that is the mark of someone who has been with me in the wilderness and come out the other side, not just alive, but transformed. Now, I want to speak to something that has lived quietly in the back of your mind for longer than you have been willing to admit, the fear that you missed it. The fear that somewhere along the way you made a wrong turn, or you hesitated too long, or you walked away from something you should have stayed for, and now the window is closed, the moment is past, the chance will not come around again. I know that thought. I know how convincingly it speaks, and I know how much damage it has done to your ability to move forward with hope. So I am saying this today with complete, final, absolute authority. You did not miss it. The promise is not behind you. The moment did not pass while you were stumbling. I knew every stumble. I factored in every detour. My plans are not made of paper that tears when life gets messy. My plans are written in eternity. They are sealed by covenant. They are held in place by grace. And grace does not expire. Think of it this way. When a parent buys a birthday gift for their child and the child comes home late from school, the parent does not take the gift back. The parent waits because the gift was always for the child. It was never about perfect timing on the child's end. It was always about the love of the one who prepared it. And I am that parent, and the gift I have prepared for you is still sitting there, still wrapped, still waiting, still bearing your name. It did not go anywhere because I did not change my mind about you. The doors have not closed. They have been held open by mercy, my mercy, which is new every single morning and does not grow tired of waiting for your readiness. And your readiness is now not perfect readiness, not complete readiness, but genuine readiness. A heart that says, I am here, I am willing, I believe you. And that is all the readiness I require to begin pouring out what I have kept in reserve for your name. Now, let me bring all of this together in a way that lands right in the center of your spirit, because everything I have said today has been building toward one clear, powerful, life-changing truth that I need you to receive and never let go of. What is ahead of you is not a lesser version of what you dreamed. It is not a consolation prize. It is not the third or fourth best option after the good ones were taken. What is ahead of you is the real thing, the original design, the version that was always in my heart when I first thought of you, before the world got in the way, before the wounds accumulated, before the delays confused the picture. What is coming is yours completely, specifically, personally yours. And it is moving toward you even right now as you sit with these words. Things are already in motion that you cannot see yet. Conversations are happening in rooms you have not entered. Hearts are being prepared to receive what you carry. Doors are being unlocked by my hand. Pathways are being cleared. And the moment you take your next step of faith, even a small one, even a quiet one, you are going to begin seeing evidence that heaven has been at work this entire time. Your name has been spoken in places that have not yet invited you. Your story has been broadcast in rooms of influence by my hand. The people who need what you carry are already being drawn toward you by an invisible thread of divine connection. And when you meet them, when the opportunities arise, when the doors swing open and the invitation comes, I need you to walk in without shrinking. Walk in knowing that you are not an accident of good timing. You are an act of divine design. And what you carry in you was always meant to land in that room, at that moment, for that purpose. Do not apologize for the space you take up. Do not shrink back because the room feels too big or too important. Do not let the enemy whisper that you do not belong there, because I am the one who opened the door. And if I opened it, that means you belong. You are not crashing anyone's party. You are answering your assignment, and there is a difference between the two that your spirit will feel in your bones the moment you step through. This is the season of no more hiding. No more waiting for permission from people who were never qualified to give it. No more shrinking to make others comfortable. No more playing small because big felt presumptuous. You are my child. You carry my name. You breathe with my breath, and the world needs to see what that looks like. So here is what I am asking of you today. Not a performance, not a vow of perfection, not a promise that you will never doubt again. Just this. Take one step forward in trust, in faith, in the quiet confidence that the one who made you has not abandoned you and will not abandon you. Take one step and watch what I do with it, because one step of genuine faith in my hands becomes a momentum that nothing in this world can stop. The story is not over. It is just reaching the most beautiful part. And you, my dear child, are exactly where you are supposed to be right here, right now, at the beginning of everything you were always meant to become. Trust the author. I never write with waste. I never end without purpose. And I am writing something magnificent in your life right now that is going to leave you breathless with gratitude when you finally see it from the other side. Get ready not with striving, not with anxiety, not with desperate running. Get ready with peace, with presence, with open hands, and an open heart. Because what is coming is more than you have asked for, more than you have imagined, and more than you have dared to believe on your hardest days. But I have believed it for you all along. And now your moment is here. Walk forward, my beloved. The best chapter of your story is just beginning.